Wow, would you look at that? My potential man video blew up. Let me check the comments. I've made a severe and continuous lapse in my judgment. This is what we call suffering from success, kiddos. Um, I really do like JJK, and I made this video like that was the Potential Man theme song, and then I made the Megumi video. Um, and now because of all the views, people have been coming in and basically been calling. Not everyone. A lot of people have been like, "Bro, this is mad funny, huh?" But quite a few people have called me a LARPer, brain rotted, only subsiding off of JJK slander from Reddit, um, incapable of reading, incapable of thought for myself in oh so many words and various levels of politeness and condescension. But ultimately, I do not think the Megumi liability video was the greatest showcase of my mental capacity. I think it made me look like I really don't understand what I'm talking about. And thus, when I explain, guys, I'm watching the show, I'm literally watching it, looking at it, reviewing it as I'm talking about it, people are like, I don't buy it. So, I mean, what do you want me to do? Pull up my Crunchyroll account, show you the history of every JJK episode I've watched? No. But I will say that the Megumi video, the Potential Man, it was mainly a joke. Um, but the Megumi liability video, it was kind of, ugh, kind of poorly planned and ill thought out, and kind of came at the guy with like some bad faith criticism or whatever. Um, like, dude, I like Megumi. I like JJK. And like I like his whole arc so far of like gradually becoming more confident in his own abilities and going from like I have to do this to I need to do this, like he wants to do it or whatever. And so I think that's cool. And in Shibuya, he's been amazing, dog. He used the Chimero. I don't know why I keep saying Chimero. Oh, Chimera Shadow. Chimera Shadow Garden. Um, to counter Dagon. He fought the little mustache dude with Yuji. He fought his dad and didn't instantly just get turned to mincemeat. So I'm like, good job, kid. But I'm like, the video was poorly planned out and not very well researched. But I will say that I don't really disagree with the core of the video, which is one, that the Maharaga play wasn't that great, but two, after explaining it some more, realizing that it's less within the story's fault and more so a writing issue that I have an issue with. That the story kind of bends over backwards so much that it almost snaps in half to justify why him doing this major step backwards in character growth is actually needed, and to make it make sense, even though by all accounts it shouldn't make sense. It shouldn't be even in the what's it called, like the order of operations or whatever. Like it shouldn't even be thought at this point in his character. At least in my mind, I'm like, maybe, yeah. Like, I'm sorry, I'm going off track again. I need to look at the script. I have a script that I'm looking at, and I keep going off it. So I'm sorry. I do think that people kind of believe now that due to slander culture and the agendas and outrage culture and everything like that, that the only way to criticize something is by bashing it, or that if you do criticize something, then you dislike it or whatever, because of all these different ways people like convey their opinion, and then like just from years and years of these loud, obnoxious takes that are like, this is the worst movie ever, this is the best movie ever, and because of that, people don't even really like to say like the movie was okay. Like, when was the last time you saw a review where someone was like, it was alright? You don't, because that doesn't get clicks, that doesn't get views the same way as saying like, oh my gosh, this is the worst movie ever, this is the best movie ever. And so I feel like I kind of unconsciously contributed to that. So, not great on my part. Oopsie daisy. So here are my thoughts, and here's let me explain what I mean. From what I know so far, and from what's been shown, Maharaga is the trump card of the the Ten Shadows technique. He's a Shikigami that is so powerful that no user in any recorded, history so far has been able to tame it in like the history of ever. And summoning it means that you'll die trying to tame it, or that it puts you into the taming ritual, and that by doing that, it essentially equals death. Ugh. Megumi starts the series. He can't jujutsu. He can't do it that great, or at least he thinks he can't. And he meets multiple first grade curses and special grade curses, and each time he runs into one, automatically jumps to putting those fists out, ready to summon Maharaga when he's backed into a corner. And his big moment at the end of the season is him flashing back to Gojo, telling him that there's a difference between dying even if you win and dying so that you'll win. And he ultimately learns to be more confident in himself and beats the special grade without using Maharaga. Inspiring. And then we read. I'm sorry. I'm like. I'm reading off this, and it genuinely feels like I'm doing a presentation for school again or something. Then we reach Shibuya. Madness. Shit is exploding. People are dying. There's a meteor in the sky that gets thrown down by Volcano Man. I love that dude Jogo so much, dude. Sorry, I gotta get sidetracked. I love that dude. Hanami. Ooh, how many fingers strong do you think I am? I love that dude's voice so much, dude. I love Jogo so much. I love his design. I love his little fire powers, and when he gets mad, lava shoots out of his head like a cartoon character. I love it, dude. But anyways, it's craziness and all the stuff from before. The short guy, the surefire Toji, all that. He does great, and then he gets snuck by a Haruta of all people, who is like I don't even know what, like a sixth grade sorcerer dude. Like, he is, he's tragic, dog. He's horrible, and in any other scenario, he probably would have been turned into mulch by Megumi. But he sneaks him. He gets stabbed. He starts bleeding out. And in his dying moments, he decides to finally unleash Maharaga to kill him before he kills anybody else. That's fair. Now, here's where I have my problem. Everything is ironclad on like a Watsonian level, but on a Doyleist level, it's a nightmare. There's Watsonian and there's Doyleist. Watsonian means that in story, how does Sherlock Holmes know how to do XYZ? Well, it's actually because he trained with, Chinese dudes back in 1801 and learned how to, listen to heartbeats by holding your breath, you know. But on a Doyleist level, it's just I needed him to do XYZ, so that's why I made it up. I.e., the Tibetan monks thing from Batman. I was trying to avoid saying that, but that's essentially what I loop back around to. How every, like Batman the Brave and the Bold, he's like, oh yeah, the Tibetan monks. I learned how to astral project, staying up in the mountains. This one's Sheila. It is Jeannie. I dream of her. I love the Diedrich Bader. Um, and it's Doyleistly stupid, low key stupid. It makes no sense thinking about it. Just like, okay, sorry. First thing, they explained that Maharaga only attacks people within a certain radius, meaning that if you're within like X feet of Megumi, after summoning Maharaga, you're fighting Big Raga. Um, The Ten Shadows user must use only himself, his fists, and his Shikigami to beat Maharaga. Meaning that if anybody else assists in it, it'll void the ritual and you won't, like, nothing comes of it. It's for nothing. It's all for naught. You just basically did nothing from that whole encounter, and like, yeah, it's nothing. My immediate first, my immediate first thought was, wouldn't it be easier to summon literally any other Shikigami? Because they've shown that totality is enough to kill, like, the, what's it called, the finger bearer, and enough to leave like a deep wound on Hanami. So it does some damage. And I was like, just summon one of those guys, or summon Nue, or summon Gamma, whatever. But I guess it takes a lot of cursed energy to maintain something like that. So I'm like, you know what? That's fine. Like, it takes cursed energy to summon it, takes cursed energy to maintain it. But then every single time that they show Maharaga about to get summoned, it's a crazy amount of cursed energy, and all of them are like, "Oh, what's this? I've never seen this amount of cursed energy." And he's got a big blue aura around him because of all the cursed energy. But apparently, it's a lot of cursed energy, and like, someone had explained it in the comments, and I tried to look it up, and apparently the taming ritual requires no cursed energy whatsoever after the thing's summoned. Um, why? I mean, I don't know. Why not? Like, I was like, that seems kind of convenient, but I'm like, it makes sense, in theory. Um, what's it called? Curse manipulation. If you summon a curse or whatever that you already ate, I don't think it costs any cursed energy to maintain one of those. So I'm like, that tracks. And so we get to the actual big Raga. He comes out and he's like boom, boom, stomping on the ground. And he punches Megumi in the side of the dome, and he flies like 100 feet into a straight brick wall, and he's basically dead. And at that moment, I was like, oh no, like, he's not, dead or whatever, or not gonna die, because he's the main, like, the second main character. Like, they already killed off what's her name, at that point, by blowing her face up, and I know, like, thank you, JJK people, for spoiling everything throughout the entirety of the last act of JJK. But so now, I know, but they killed her off, and um, I'm like, okay. I mean, they do that later, but what's his name? Megumi. He gets punched, and I'm like, okay, obviously he's not technically gonna die, or whatever. But at this point, this is where we hit the crossroads. It's like, how do we find a way to have no drawbacks, but also all the drawbacks of Maharaga? And so they introduce suspended death, which they've never talked about before, and I don't know if they ever are going to use it again, because ultimately it is a way of saying that he died, but until the ritual is done, he's not technically dead. So it's like getting a game over screen. Like, you can just reload or whatever, but you died. But I'm like, that's not, that feels like a cop out. Like, it really is a cop out. They never introduced that before. They never, like, are they gonna use it again? I hope they use it again to make this make sense, to introduce a new way to die, but essentially putting him in a Schrodinger state of non-existence or whatever, or death, solely so that Sukuna can come in and say, "Oh man, this guy's dead," and then heal him, and then bring him, like, practically back from death, to say, "Well, he did die," or whatever. It feels kind of cheap, and so it's like, the fact that, like, I could have worded this so much better in the other video, but I'm like, the fact that summoning Maharaga is enough cursed energy to be nerve wracking, but not enough to instantly kill him, and also doesn't need an input of cursed energy throughout, after summoning him, and also is a suicide technique, but only declares you like legally dead or whatever, because it puts you into a Schrodinger state of like it just feels like a lot of convenience in the span of a couple minutes. So honestly, I'm like I love the fight. It was a beautiful fight, and I love Megumi, but I do feel like by giving every single one of those rules, it kind of let him have this opportunity to step back narratively just for the sake of having a cool fight, and also that so they can introduce Maharaga for whatever else may come down the line. And it just feels cheap to me. So I could have worded this way better in the other video. But ultimately, I just don't think that the taming ritual was well planned. I mean, not well planned. I don't think it was well executed. Like I feel like it's a lot of convenient things that happen just so that Megumi is able to have his cake and eat it too, and also get a sloppy blowjob from the cake afterwards. Like it's not fair that he gets to have this entire arc about being confident in his own abilities, and even when he's supposed to, like when he's close to death, go down swinging, and then when it's time to go down swinging, he's like, well, I guess this is like an exception, and then he does it, and then there's no real drawbacks for him. Really, he doesn't really learn anything from it, and then um, one of the things I talked about before was the Maharaga fight ending like the lives of a lot of people, and people are like, "Well, I like that's not even fair." One dude, he was like, "Sukuna, he probably would have ended up killing a lot of people if he didn't sense Maharaga," and my theory is that Megumi, he actually knew Sukuna would find Maharaga, and no, dude, he did not. You are pulling that from betwixt your cheeks, upwards and down out of your hole. It is not. That is not what happened. But like, is it a stretch to say Maharaga, like Megumi, directly caused those deaths? Maybe, but I'm like, he should take some responsibility, because it's not like he like it's a major step back narratively, dude. Like he just learned not to always feel the need to summon Maharaga, and then he does it, and then Maharaga, because of that, when Sukuna comes in, it leads to the crazy fight where like 130 meters or whatever of Shibuya gets decimated. And so I'm like, even though it was like technically justified because he was close to dying, and so he was really about to die, so that way it actually makes sense, and it's like it still feels like a cheap way, and it kind of reduces his character, and then also puts no narrative weight on him being responsible for so many people dying. But Yuji, he's like, oh my god, look what I did. Look what he did. I feel like I'm repeating myself from the other video. But it's like, maybe that's just me. Maybe it's just a personal thing, and what's it called, moral relativism or whatever, like who's technically at fault, because I guess by that same logic, by Yuji not killing himself, then Sukuna uh, killing all those people is his fault, which he feels. But I don't know, it just rubs me the wrong way. I really don't like the way they went about it, and so I'm hoping that as time goes on, he becomes less of just a tool narratively to be constantly jangled in front of the audience, and it's like, oh, look at that technique. I bet like in like 3 seasons, he's really gonna get the hang of it, and he's gonna do some really cool stuff with that thing. He's really gonna wreck shop. He's really gonna do something because all of season one, he was manageable. He did good, but who did he fight? He fought Kamo. He didn't beat Kamo. He fought Toto. He definitely didn't beat Toto. He fought Sukuna. Obviously lost. He fought the Finger. Lost. He fought who else? I'm trying to think. Mekamaru? No, well, for a little bit. Um, he beat Miwa. So I'm like, not to slander him or whatever, because I'm genuinely trying to remember. But ultimately, the first season he didn't really do much, and now he's doing all right. And so seeing him step backwards like this, it just kind of is disheartening. And so the video I made prior was kind of sloppily made. And so this one, I feel like if there's any problem with it, hopefully we'll be able to discuss this cordially and not just call me some brain dead LARPer with a fourth grade reading comprehension or whatever that people say to people on Reddit or people on TikTok underneath comments and in the edits or whatever. Um, but dude, I like this show and I'm gonna keep watching it, and so I'm hoping that I will be proven wrong enough to want to delete the Megumi Potential Man song because honestly, I like him and I hope that he gets a proper send off finale conclusion to his arc, and whatever may come at the end and in Modulo um, is good. So, yeah, bye. Thank you.